Hello. Pull. Oh. Ooh. Yeah. Woohoo!
Goods that contribute to inflation. We would like to say food and beverages, because inflation, there's two instruments, which is demand pull and cost push. Why is demand pull? Demand pull occur when the demand is high but the supply is decreased, which lead to the increment of the price because there are no raw material or maybe there are no labor force, which lead to the cost push. When we comes about cost push, it must increase its cost. Cost of what? Cost of raw material and then the product itself. So what's the point here? Okay, let's take a look. Why chicken prices is high? It is because what chicken eat? Chicken eat wheat, corn and soybean. And Russia is one of the most top producer for this wheat, corn and soybean. And as you guys can see, Russia have conflict with Ukraine and that impact to us. Yes. So due to the Russia-Ukraine conflict, which lead to the disruption of food, this leads to increment of the price in terms of politics of macroeconomy.
Hello, my name is Muhammad Ahmad bin HAZEEM. I'm DB 2207115 from class DBS 3E. Inflation refers to the sustained increase in the general price level of goods and services in an economy over a period of time. In other words, it is a decrease in the purchasing power of money, as each unit of currency buys fewer goods and services. Inflation is usually measured using various price indices such as the Consumer Price Index (CPI) or the Producer Price Index (PPI). These indices track the average price changes of a basket of goods and services consumed by households or produced by industries, respectively. However, high and unpredictable inflation can be harmful. It erodes the purchasing power of money, making it difficult for individuals and businesses to plan for the future. It can also lead to economic instability, distortions in resource allocation, and a distribution of wealth from savers to borrowers. Inflation can affect various aspects of an economy, including purchasing power. Inflation reduces the purchasing power of money. As prices rise, the same amount of money can buy fewer goods and services. This erodes the value of savings and fixed income assets, such as bonds, leading to a decrease in the standard of living for individuals and households. Second, cost of living. Inflation affects the cost of living by increasing the prices of essential goods and services, such as food, housing, healthcare, and education. This can put pressure on household budgets, especially for those with fixed incomes or limited wage growth. Last one is interest rates. Inflation influences interest rates as central banks often raise interest rates to combat inflationary pressures. Higher interest rates make borrowing more expensive, which can reduce consumer spending and business investment. Conversely, during periods of low inflation, central banks may lower interest rates to stimulate economic activity. In Malaysia, the trend of inflation from 2015 to 2019 was relatively moderate, with fluctuations occurring over the years. Here's a summary of the inflation trend during that period. In 2015, inflation was relatively low in Malaysia during this year. The Consumer Price Index (CPI) increased by 0.1% compared to the previous year. This was primarily due to the removal of fuel subsidies and the implementation of the Goods and Services Tax (GST) in April. GDP growth rate was 5.0% in 2015, indicating a relatively stable and growing economy. In 2016, inflation picked up slightly in 2016 with the CPI rising by 2.1%. The increase was influenced by higher food price as well as the impact of the GST on certain goods and services. GDP growth rate in 2016 was 4.2%, which was slightly lower than the previous year. While inflation rose, the impact on GDP growth remained relatively modest. For 2017, inflation remained relatively stable in 2017, with the CPI rising by 3.7%. The increase was mainly driven by higher transportation costs, particularly due to the rise in global oil prices. For inflation rate, Malaysia experienced higher inflation. Despite the higher inflation, the economy continued to grow at a healthy pace. Malaysia's GDP growth rate in 2017 was robust at 5.9%. In 2018, inflation accelerated in 2018, reaching a peak during this period. The CPI rose by 1.0% in January and subsequently increased to 3.7% by July, driven the higher fuel prices, the abolishment of the GST, and the implementation of the Sales and Services Tax (SST). Malaysia GDP growth rate in 2018 was 4.7%. The lower inflation rate likely contributed to maintaining stable economic growth. The last one is 2019. Inflation moderated in 2019 with the CPI increasing by 0.7%. This was primarily attributed to lower fuel prices and stabilizing effect on the SST, which replaced the GST. Despite the low inflation, economic growth slightly decelerated compared to the previous year. Overall, the trend of inflation in Malaysia from 2015 to 2019 showed some fluctuations, with inflationary pressure influenced by factors such as changes in fuel prices, tax reforms, and global economic conditions.
Hello, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is IQBAL BAZLI bin Jeffrey. My ID number is MDB 2207075. For my part, it's on question number 3 on how can individual adapt with high living costs. So, as the saying goes by John Hope Bryan, you can make money two ways. Either you make money or you spend less. The side income that I can suggest is food delivery and passenger transportation, such as Grab, Food Panda, Grab Food, also Shopee Food, and Halo. My next suggestion is create saving. I repeat, create saving. I will divide my savings into 3 sections. For the first section is short term, the second one is mid term, and the last one long term. For the short term means referring to your money that you have set aside for near term use. And for the next one is mid term saving, which is the money that you want to make it happen in the next few years. And the last one is long-term saving, that shows you to use the money at the old time or further. Buying gold. Why do I say buying gold? Because As the saying goes of Christopher Columbus, gold is a treasure, and he who possesses it does all he wishes to in this world and succeed in helping souls into paradise. Why do I suggest you to buy gold? It's because the price of gold never goes down. Why? It generally works in the opposition to the equity of market. In the other hand, which means if the market crash, the price of gold will rise up. It doesn't matter if you buy a small amount of gold, a big amount of gold, as long as you are saving it, you can adapt with high cost living in the future.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi taala wabarakatuh. My name is Muhammad Hazeem bin Abdul Rashid. My ID number is MDB 2207022. And today I am going to address a pressing issue that affects all of us, which is the high cost of living. It is a challenge that burdens individuals and families, affecting their ability to meet their basic needs and limiting their desires. However, I am confident that our government can effectively address this issue and also pave the way for a brighter future if we take a strategic and comprehensive approach. As from my observation and discussion with my group, we are going to explain about the strategies for government to overcome the issue of high cost living. The first and foremost, our government must focus on implementing economic policies. For example, fiscal policy. Through the fiscal policy, the measures can be implemented by the government are tax cut and incentive. As we can see, here are the example of incentive. We can stimulate economic growth and put money in the pocket of our citizens. Additionally, the central bank can adjust interest rates to control the inflation, ensuring stability and curbing the rising prices that contribute to the high cost of living. What's the next? Next point is investing in education and vocational training program. It is very crucial in Malaysia to empower the citizen with the necessary skills for high-paying jobs so they can get a better job. The importance of this investment are to reduce the unemployment rate and enhance the vocational training system. It also aligns with the industry that we need today. It also reduces the income disparities and raise the overall standard of living. This not only reduce the income disparities, but also raise the overall standard of living for our people. So here is the article example for the vocational training. The Malaysian Department of Statistics reported that for the second quarter of 2022, the number of jobs in the semi-skilled category remained dominant in the labour market at 62.2%, which is 5.364 million. This was followed by the highly skilled jobs at 24.9%, which is 2.144 million, and unskilled jobs at 12.9%, which is 1.111 million. This statistic shows that the number of highly skilled workers in Malaysia remains lower than the target. This scenario requires attention because the country must increase the number of highly skilled workers to ensure more than 45% by 2030 in order to compete with other developed countries. Furthermore, fostering job creation and entrepreneurship is vital in building a competitive labour market and expanding opportunities for all. Lastly, to control costs effectively, we need to establish mechanisms for price monitoring and the regulation. Preventing excessive prices increases for essential goods and services. It is crucial to shield our citizens from undue financial burdens. Additionally, import policies and reducing tariff on essential goods can lower their costs and increase affordability for all. So I think that's all from me. There's 3 factors, which is the first one is government must focus on implementing economic policies. The second one is investing in education and vocational training programs, and then we need to control the cost effectively by establish mechanism for price monitoring and regulation. So thank you very much. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi taala wabarakatuh.